Muy buenas a todos, sean bienvenidos un día más a su canal favorito Mundo Noticiero, donde recibes las noticias más importantes del país y del mundo. Si eres nuevo, no olvides suscribirte y activar la campanita de notificaciones para que no te pierdas ninguno de nuestros nuevos videos. Señores, en este día le tenemos fuertes declaraciones sobre el caso de Puff Diddy. Se trata de la cantante Niykee Heaton, la cual ha dado en las redes sociales declaraciones impactantes sobre este caso, ya que ella estuvo en una de sus fiestas y tuvo una mala experiencia. Se le estaré dejando aquí más adelante el video completo para que lo vean. Quédate hasta el final de este video para que puedas ver las fuertes declaraciones de Niykee Heaton.
Diddy kept looking at me, and Kanye kept looking at Lauren, and like they were exchanging glances, and I'm like, they're like watching me strangely. And I'm like, okay, let me pretend to drink, and like I'm not actually doing it. And like that seemed to like make them happy, like me like pretending to like join in. And immediately I'm like, there's something in this drink. There's something in this drink. And I didn't know what to do. And I like, my manager was like across the room, but like close enough, but like not next to me, so I couldn't like whisper to her. But I wanted to tell her, I'm like, hey, don't fucking drink this. There's something wrong with this. But I couldn't. So I reach for my phone and I start to type, and Kanye takes the phone out of my hand and he's like, who are you texting? Like, you don't need to text anyone. Like, we're having a party. And I was like, okay. And he like puts it on one of the speakers. And I'm like, now what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. And I see my manager take a sip. And I'm like, now what do I do? And then I see her take another sip, 2 sips out of this little vodka cranberry cup. And I'm like, oh, what do I do? 2 sips, and I watch her face flush. And all of a sudden, like I look over and she's speaking really loud and like making jokes. And I'm like, whoa, like this isn't her. Like she doesn't make jokes. She's terrified of people. Like she doesn't even talk. And I was like, it's already hitting her. Like 100%, I just knew that the drinks were all laced with something. And she starts like almost being like belligerent a little bit, but not in like a crazy way, just like really enjoying herself. And I'm like, that's not her. That's not her. She doesn't even want to be here. Like, this is weird. And all of a sudden she like dismisses the studio host. She's like, you can leave. And I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on? And the girls file out. They go to like a different studio, or they go somewhere. And I'm like, I have to do something. I have to do something. What do I do? And I go to get my phone where Kanye put it on one of the speakers. And as I'm going to get it, I turn and my manager's walking out. And I'm like, no. Like, where are you going? I'm already seeing people being like, this is cap. What do I have to gain? Let me just ask you, what do I have to gain? I'm in a farm in the middle of nowhere. I'm not in the industry anymore. I'm not filing a lawsuit, so I'm not getting paid. I'm not looking for clout, because who gives a fuck about me? So why would I lie about this? This has been 9.5 years since this happened to me. Why would I? Let me go on. Whatever. Yeah, so I see her start to leave. And I'm like, where are you going? And she's like, it's fine, I'm just going to the bathroom. And I was like, no, stay. And she's like, it's right there, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay. And she walks out. And all of a sudden, I realize that I'm in this studio. The music's low, the lights are dim, but you can still like see everything. And I realize that I'm in the studio with Diddy and Kanye, and they're both off their and there's 3 other men, an executive that works with Kanye, his engineer, and his cousin, and me, alone. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I haven't started freaking out yet. Like, I know what the situation is. I know Like, I know this is a bad place to be in, but I don't really feel scared yet, you know, like, cause I'm like, there's other people around, there's other men around, and I know them, like I've known them for a while, like nothing bad's gonna happen. And I'm standing there and I realize that so this is like a pretty like sizable studio. There's like the glass doors, the couch there, a console, another console, the screen, all of that, but it's like, it's pretty big, but you can still see and talk to everyone easily. And I realized that I'm standing really close to the exit, and it's a glass door and it opens in, and I'm standing pretty close to it. And I realized all of a sudden that Kanye and Diddy have realized that I'm the only girl in the room. And they're like, their minds. And they start coming towards me and they're like, don't you want to take your clothes off? Like, it's so hot in here. And I'm like, no, fine. I'm fine like this. And they're like, come on, like, it's just us, like, we're all just friends, like, let us just like see like how you look. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. And like, I still haven't gotten scared yet, you know, like, I'm still like, this is a bad situation, I'm creeped out, but like, there's no reason to panic, there's other men here. So they're coming towards me and I'm like, okay, I don't know where my manager is, I don't know where anyone is. And they're coming towards me more and they're trying to like take my clothes off. And I'm like at that point where I'm like, this is not good, but I'm like still trying to like play it off, just like, stop, you guys are like, get out of here, like, don't touch me. And I start to get a little bit apprehensive because I'm pretty much like backed up against the wall. Like, there's only one exit and I'm pressed up against this door. And I'm still not completely terrified yet, but I'm like, you guys stop, like, stop. And they're getting to the point where they have like ripped my shirt off, and like, I'm like almost fully exposed at this point, and they're both coming at me, and I'm like, you guys, like, seriously, this isn't funny anymore. And I look to my left where his executive is. Like, we know him pretty well, like we've been around him a lot. He's literally 3 feet away from me. Like, if I reached and he reached too, like, we could touch, like, he's that close. And I look and I'm like, hey, like, I give that look where I'm just like, come on, like, step in, like, this isn't cool, like, you're a grown man, like, you're like 50 years old, I know you have a family, like, you know this isn't right, like, do something. And this is the part that for as long as I live, I will never fucking forget. It isn't actually the aspect of being, that's not what haunts me. It's this. It's as these 2 grown men were me trying to take my clothes off, I look over to this man asking for help, and I literally mouth the word help, and we lock eyes. And he looks away. I'm like, okay, there's still 2 more men in the room. And I look to his engineer next, who's sitting right next to him. And I know that he's married and he just had a little baby girl. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna do something. And I look at him next and I'm like, okay, like, do something, say something, do anything. And he looks down at his phone and starts texting. And then I was like, oh. I look at Kanye's cousin next, and I'm like, do something, you know, like, fucking do something. And he spins his chair around. And that's when that, like, gut-wrenching fear set in. And I was like, oh, no one's saving me tonight. No one's gonna do anything. No one's gonna do anything. And that's when I was truly fucking scared. At this point, they had ripped my shirt off, and they were trying to get my pants off. And I realized that I was completely alone. And I closed my eyes for a second. And I was like, God help me.
Muy fuerte las declaraciones que nos acaba de dar la cantante Niykee Heaton, que tuvo una mala experiencia con este tag with Diddy. Bueno, hasta aquí fue el video de hoy. Espero que les haya gustado. Si es así, no olviden comentar. Quiero su opinión sobre este caso acá en la cajita de los comentarios. Y sobre todo, dejar su like y compartir. Nos vemos en un próximo video.